the dip keeps dipping and you don't know where to enter, well, we got news for you. We don't know where to enter neither.
We used to pray for $200 Sol. So if you're freaking out right now, just relax, take a big, deep breath.
I used to be the CEO of CoinTelegraph.
Oh.
And I left to do this.
In sickness or in health, we are doing this podcast.
Welcome to Sol Brothers, Solana's finest podcast, with my dear friend Eno and myself, Simon, where it is our job to throw you into the Solana rabbit hole and show you around in this exciting ecosystem.
Our mission is to keep you up to date with the latest and greatest so that you never run out of fun things to talk about. Simon, we are both feeling sick, but it doesn't matter, rain or shine, in sickness or in health, we are doing this fucking podcast.
Yeah, I'm probably feeling even better than you, even though I'm actually sick and have the flu. My voice is a little bit under the weather, as you might be able to hear over the mic. But Eno has been just being awake for like 1 week, what it feels like, doing all kinds of nonsense, like organizing a full day conference in Korea and still working full time, going to dinners and lunches and doing live streams all at the same time. So wild times. This week is definitely a crazy week, not only on the charts, also for Eno and myself. But nevertheless, there's shit to talk about, So
yeah,
I think we have to be here.
Don't start talking about the chart. The charts are so horrendous. The charts are so bad. My fuck.
Yep. The dip keeps dipping, and you don't know where to enter. Well, we got news for you. We don't know where to enter neither, but we can at least show you a little bit of our thoughts that we have on the charts, or my thought that I have on the charts. So that's something we're going to do. But we're also going to talk about Korea's biggest internet company. I think it's fair to say it's Korea's biggest internet company and tech company, acquiring Korea's biggest centralized exchange that just dropped today in the morning. So we're going to touch on that, I think you just heard about it literally half an hour ago. So we're gonna make sense of that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've been traveling from. I'm not even in Korea anymore. I'm in Osaka, Japan, and by the time I landed, and I checked out the show notes, I was like, "Wait, what the? Like, this is so." But the news is still so fresh in my head. We're gonna jump right into it, but of course, we're gonna start with the coziest part of the podcast, which is Simon's technical analysis. So, Simon, take it away, my friend. What's going on?
Yeah. So let's take a look at these charts here. Let's start obviously with our friend Solana and see what's happening on the Solana chart. I'm actually gonna do you guys a favor and switch to my cleaner chart, which should be a bit easier to comprehend than the one we've been working on in the past weeks, because a lot of stuff is happening, and I just updated a little bit the wave counts from the edit waves here. Because it looks a bit out of order right now, since we dropped literally from $250 to $200 ish. So I think we definitely have to make sense of this right now, because there's some structure that has been broken. And the question now is, are we going to dip deeper, or are we going to go up from here? So I think, in my opinion, we are right now in a resistance zone here between $210 and $172. And I think we should see some sort of bounce, at least from this area. If either it's going to be a bounce, a wave 2 bounce in a 5-wave decline, that would be a bit bearish. That would be basically this wave 2, and then we would see a big wave 3, and then wave 4, and then wave 5. Obviously hopefully not that deep, but that would be the bear case, which is right now low probability in my opinion, just from the fact where we are in the market. That's why I don't have it on the chart currently. My base scenario right now is that we're going to do an A, B, C, and that would be part of a larger B wave, and then we're going to rally in a C wave of a third wave to the upside, which could bring us to new all-time highs. So there's definitely something that I'm looking for right now. There's this support line here that we touched 1, 2, 3 times already on the chart. And we might touch it again in this decline that we're in right now. So yeah, Solana at $204 as the time of recording. it didn't stop dipping yet. There's no confirmation yet really that we're going to go up from here. But I think we are definitely in a zone where we should recover from at some point. Maybe the support line is going to be the last dip that we see, but it has been brutal on the market. So even Bitcoin went down all the way to $111,000. Definitely breaking the structure here that I was tracking in a 5-wave move to the upside, which is not super accurate anymore in my opinion. Like we kind of broke the lowest fib level already. So we need to evaluate the situation here. It looks like we're going lower, guys. It looks like we're not done yet with correcting. And especially ETH, if we're looking at that one at the end as well. So really a lot of pullbacks here. Just today, there were a lot, like hundreds of millions of dollars again liquidated in longs on the ETH chart. We're right now literally at the $4,000 mark. So yeah, TLDR, the market looks like it needs to recover in the short term at least. There's a lot of sell pressure right now in the market. The indicators indicate that we should go up soon, either in a corrective structure to the upside, or maybe even in a more bearish scenario. It's just going to be a correction and then a break to the downside again. So yeah, that's my current thoughts on the charts. It stays interesting. We need to check in again here in a few days to see what happened.
Before we close out the TA, do you mind actually showing us what's going on with Bitcoin dominance and kind of just the overall market, not just Solana? Yeah. Sorry about that. I was talking and just had myself rookie mistake.
Didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
All good. All good. So yeah, BTC dominance definitely also right now in a correction to the upside, let's say, because we've been going down a lot since we kind of reached the 66% here, and we've been on our, like, the trend is still down, but there's like a pretty big recovery here that we're seeing to the upside, and we're right now in a zone that I would say is definitely a zone where we could bounce from. Technically, there's like quite a bit of resistance here in this area, so I think. I think there's still like some air to the upside. So Bitcoin, it's kind of, it's funny because it is a trend that we see from year to year. We do see that September usually is a bearish month. It started super bullish. I think it was a bit of manipulation due to the FOMC meetings, and then from there we went pretty bullish on the alts, but then also pretty sharply declined from there. And now Bitcoin is leading the way again, and that's usually what happens in like leading into Q4. Bitcoin dominance goes higher, while the altcoins, so those would be the others, for example here, the total crypto market cap excluding BTC and ETH, saw quite a decline, and I think we're right now at a pivotal moment as well, where we should see some confirmation soon. I think if we're breaking these, if we're breaking below these support areas here in the daily chart, like below the 1.06 trillion mark here in the other market cap, so all coins excluding BTC and ETH, that could open the path for a bit more bleeding into from alts into Bitcoin. And like I said, it's some sort of pattern that we see from year to year, where Bitcoin dominance goes up in September, into October, and then we see a rebound again to the opposite side, basically just grabbing liquidity up and down from all the over leveraged traders.
Yeah, I see. Okay, well, you heard it here first, folks. You're going to want to be careful because the dips are dipping, and very high likelihood. I mean, it would not be that surprising if we continue to dip, especially the resistance zone that Simon had identified earlier, which is like I think you said the 175 to 210 range. We've broken a couple of patterns here, so that's definitely a couple of pink flags that you want to keep an eye out for.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Not easy right now. Not easy to trade, especially in the past couple of days. We saw declines that were sharper than what we were used to, because there was literally a price drop from $10 in Solana in 10 seconds, which is a lot, in such a short time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's just grabbing liquidity on the way down.
So for those of you who have not been paying attention to the podcast over the last couple of streams, Simon has a pretty strong suspicion about what's going on in the market. So Simon, what is this? You call it a conspiracy theory, but I actually think it's very plausible. So like, just TLDR, what are your thoughts on like why the price is dropping so much, especially for that? There's that one. What's the opposite of a God candle?
A reverse God candle, a devil's candle,
a demon dip.
Demon dip.
Yes. So we had
Double D.
like what happened in that in those like 10 seconds. Was it on Monday? I think it was on Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe Tuesday. But I think it is overall. I said it before. It is an easy asset to manipulate. Solana and even Bitcoin and Ethereum, because they're not they're big in market cap, but they're still not on the level of gold or the S&P. So there's definitely a bit of manipulation going on, and there's some people that can move markets with bigger backs, and it happens all the time. And I think the retail just needs to be careful anticipating these moves. And the only people that are really in a bad situation are over-leveraged traders, really, right? Because the trend is up, right? The trend is going to be up until Solana dips to $170. And it's still a long way to go. Like, we could technically go up to 170, and there's a lot of liquidations that happen on that way down. And I think it's just traders being taken out from the big boys that know how to liquidate the small ones. So maybe you can bring this up real quick. Like if we look at the 1 month chart of the Sol liquidation heat map, so basically what happened is we were on our way up here to $250 ish, right? And we liquidated here a bunch of short positions. So the greener the color, the stronger the color on that chart, the higher the liquidation value basically is, right? So we literally crushed here the billions of liquidations on Solana only, and this is only Solana, right? It's not all cryptos. And then from there was quite a big quite a big amount of leverage to the downside. So these are all long positions that anticipating the price to go higher. But yeah, these were all crushed here to the downside, as you can see. And it looks even more brutal if you go on smaller time scales, like on the 2-week time scale here. We can definitely see that there was a lot of liquidity that was taken out in this one candle. So that was on the 22nd of September. So literally, 3 days ago.
Wow. Wow.
And yeah, this is just, it's the big boys liquidating the small boys, in my opinion, to a large degree. And then because the money's never gone, it's just with someone else in trading. So if positions get liquidated, other people make money, right? That's how the world works. So yeah. You haven't heard that before?
No, but I really like that. I'm stealing that. The money's never gone. It's just with somebody else. There's a lot of kind of financial or kind of degen phrases that I really enjoy. There's another one from my old Wall Street bets days, where if someone had celebrated a particularly good trade, we would say congrats and fuck you.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good one as well. It's a good one. I'm gonna steal that one.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing is, it always kind of shocks me how different the lingo is in different circles, right? Like you would all just kind of assume, since we're all playing more or less the same financial games, whether it be in crypto or in TradFi, that the parlance would be similar, but it's not. So I remember once I told someone congrats and fuck you, and he actually got a little offended. I was like, oh no, it's like a meme. It was a joke. I didn't really, not really. Congratulations, really.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, you gotta be careful who you talk to.
Yeah, for sure. So we're at about $200 Sol. That's obviously a major dip compared to where we were in the conversation about even a week and a half ago with all the DAT, digital asset treasury frothiness. I know that some of the DATs were purchasing Sol on market at an average price at about 230s in the 230s. So like maybe they're going to be buying the dips, somewhat soon. And another thing I'd like to say is that like we used to pray for $200 Sol. So if you're freaking out right now, just relax, take a big, deep breath. We're playing for the long game, and if you can't take on that much risk, then just spot and chill.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's probably the best bet. But yeah, not everything is going down right now. There's a lot of things right now on Solana that are popping, and a lot of businesses that are being made right now. What's new on Sol?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah. So we've been talking about this North Star metric on Solana for quite some time right now. But I just think it's really interesting to see Solana continues to surpass L1 and L2 revenue. Solana makes more money than any other L1 or L2 combined, right? So going from, or that's not exactly what happened here, but not combined.
It makes more money than every other network.
Yes, that is true.
That is correct. Yeah.
I am actually quite surprised at Hyperliquid's performance this week. For some reason, I thought it would be much higher than $300,000. For some reason, that number just feels wrong to me. I feel like Hyperliquid has definitely earned more than $300,000 in network revenue in the last week, but could be wrong. It's not that I don't pay that much attention to the hype ecosystem, but they are quite noisy. So you would just think that they would be they're doing better than that. But anywho, Solana is smashing it with $13 million in revenue earned on the chain, and all I gotta say is just peanuts. It's not. It's this is nothing. We're in the first inning of a baseball game, as it were. So I think that we're going to see much higher numbers. These are going to continue to pump. Simon, I cannot wait to be. I mean, if you take these numbers do not take into account Soul Brothers revenue or like conference revenue.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, but it's still a huge number, especially if you consider how big these other ecosystems are, especially ETL1, right? It's just, I think following this North Star metric, I think we're really on a very good way.
Yeah.
I have one more topic that we can slide in.
Yes, we talked about this earlier
right now because exactly, we actually can bring up spontaneous guests right now to the show as well. Since I'm here in a house with a lot of interesting people, and haven't really chatted too much with the gentleman, so it's going to be a first time really. But we're going to make a really quick section right now with the guest that we have. So it's going to be like real quick, 5 minutes, just a little intro and what he's up to, what he's building. Because when I heard about it, I thought it's actually really exciting, and we want to get your take as well on it.
Absolutely.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put you on the speakers here, so that we can both hear what's going on. Check in with me,
Testing. Right? 1, 2, 3. Houston, do we have a problem?
Awesome. Just a little bit quiet on my end. Let me see if I can bump this up a little bit.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I have absolutely zero idea who this guest is going to be, but I bet they're going to be super exciting. So the reveal will be... we're both experiencing this reveal together.
Yep. Okay, I just don't know why the voice is so low right now.
I mean,
but I think we're gonna roll with it.
Simon, people have accused me of many things. Being a quiet motherfucker is not one of them. So,
okay, just come next to me. Yeah, come on over. I think we're gonna do most of the talking anyway. Cool. But yeah, sit down. Make sure you're in the frame. Awesome. Welcome to the show. At Soul Brothers. So we're covering a lot of Solana news, usually the latest and greatest. It's always me and my co-host Eno. So yeah, Eno, we can hear you. You're just a bit quiet, so you gotta scream.
No worries.
At least for us. Yeah, that's cool. So real quick, who are you? Just real quick, so we can know a little bit about you.
Sure.
What have you done in the, let's say, the past 12 months ish?
Yeah.
And what are you working on right now?
Absolutely. So hi. Then first of all, thanks for having me. I'm Wes Kaplan. I'm the CEO of GNOT. We created the world's first biometric crypto wallet that uses live vein technology. So what does that mean? So we created, actually, I have one right here.
Pretty cool.
So we created a wallet that detects your finger vein. I don't know if the camera can see it, but that's actually blood vessels. And so what it does is it detects your heartbeat and live blood flow and your biometrics. And it's simply access control for Web3 custody wallets.
Mm-hmm.
We're creating more than just a wallet, but an ecosystem of biometric products. And the thing that I like about what we're doing is it's all this data and stuff that we're doing is all locally hosted. It's just the access control that we are really, really vested in. And so we saw an opportunity. We had our sister company, eTunnel, had a $75 million deal with the UN on the same type of technology. It was fingerprint, but it was based on our P2N2 AI algorithms. And we decided, let's make crypto safer. And so we created this custody wallet.
That's really cool. Did you hear about something like this before?
No, I have not. But in a past life, I did work on biometric tech for Samsung Electronics, and so I do appreciate how unique using a combination of, let's say, what kind of camera are you using, or what kind of sensor are you using to track, or I mean, to like read the blood? Like, are you checking blood flow? Or are you checking, like, what exactly are you checking here? Like, what sensors do you have on the G9?
Yeah, so it's a subdermal camera. It's got several cameras in here, and basically it's detecting your blood flow and also detecting your pulse. And so the combination of the two is read by our AI agent that confirms that you are who you say you are. It's I could give you some stats off the top of my head. I can't remember exactly the numbers, but I can tell you it's one of, if not the most secure biometric way to access for access control.
So
yeah, we're really, really proud of it.
How much training data?
This is actually an exclusive. We actually have never showed this to anybody.
Oh, that's very sick.
Nice.
First of all, I've never heard of a subdermal camera. That's very, very cool. And like it's interesting. I almost imagine, but I'm assuming obviously there's nothing that penetrates the skin, but you have some way of being able to read the blood flow under the skin with the camera. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's actually something that we have KISA certifications for and patents on. And trust me, I didn't do this lightly. I don't know if you knew this, but I used to be the CEO of CoinTelegraph. And I left to do this. So it's something that we truly believe is going to change the game. And the goal is to build something for the community where security isn't something that you have to worry about. You want to have a good user experience, and that's what we're trying to provide, is make security seamless, really, and provide the right proper access control. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot, and give you some more previews. We've seen a lot of, unfortunately, wrench attacks, right? The incidents in Soho, the incidents in France. And so one thing that we're actively exploring, or more than actively exploring, is having multi-sig with biometric authentication. We're trying to eliminate single points of failure. And so by having, not just having it read your heartbeat or your pulse, but also having a pin when you type in, let's call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're eliminating single points of failure. And if we want to take it up a notch as we enter institutional custody, government custody, we can make it multi-factor. And so, yeah, we're really pleased with it. And it's an honor to be here talking about it with you in South Korea, especially with a lot of our team based here.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So are you a South Korean company? Are you guys based?
So we were spun out of eTunnel. So eTunnel is a leader in the biometric space. They did some unbelievable deals, and we are the exclusive licensee. And basically, we're one happy family.
Yeah. So now the most important question at the end: can we use this on Solana?
Yeah, you actually can. And I have another exclusive, if you will.
You haven't actually. Actually, it's the first time that he himself has this.
Yeah, this is the first time that I mean, I've used the vein readers and done proof of sales and done a lot of the stuff, but
the actual product,
in terms of the production, I can't even tell you what it takes to get to production levels. We're ready to go, but the amount of testing, it is absurd. Data control, data privacy, chain testing, transaction, everything. It's wild. But yes, we have Solana on here loaded right now.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
and we're good to go.
Please,
interesting. So, yeah.
Please tell me no blind signing.
What?
Please tell me no blind signing.
No blind signing. Elaborate,
Oh no! So like, on ledgers, famously, the Anza and Ledger have not worked together to give you human readable, signatures, and so like you have to blind sign a lot of transactions, right? And so like, I'm hoping that this device actually tells you where your Solana is going to what address, as opposed to like just some random string of characters like the transaction ID.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
At all. We're transparent, trustful, and they're great. Ledger's a good company. I have nothing negative to say about them. But the full traceability and auditability of the blockchain. Look, we're providing secure access control to your crypto wallet, whether it's retail, institutional. Once you're in it, it functions as a normal wallet. You should be able to look it up on Etherscan or SolScan, whatever it is, and see the full audible history.
Yeah. Cool.
It's the goal.
Good tech. Where can people find you or the company?
Yeah. So you can find us at g-not.io, g-not.io. And you can follow us on social media as well.
Cool.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Thanks for giving us an exclusive. Appreciate it. I'd see you around.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right.
You heard it here.
Back to the show.
You heard it here first, folks. The world's first finger vein biometric crypto wallet. This actually looks fucking sick. This is really cool. I want to get my hands on one of these. I want to try this. This seems really interesting. Check this out. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is the device that we literally just saw. The world's first finger vein biometric crypto wallet, built on blockchain and AI-enhanced hardware for advanced anti-spoofing technology, total privacy, and effortless access. G-Not replaces passwords and recovery phrases with patented finger vein authentication. I'm really interested in how the setup process works and how fast it is.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we can... Bless you. I'm pretty sure we can try it out very soon. It really looks like it's a prototype right now, the device he brought here. So I'll check in with him later. What's the timeline here on actual production for retail?
Yeah, that is super cool. But yeah, moving on to other bits of exciting news in the Solana ecosystem. The National Bank of Kazakhstan has launched the first Kazakhstan stablecoin KZTE on Solana in partnership with MasterCard, Intibix, and the Eurasian Bank. That is huge news. I mean, you went to Kazakhstan earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken, for Forma. Oh, you did not go to Kazakhstan for Forma. I apologize. But obviously...
I didn't do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But obviously, our very good friend Farhaj, who's one of the co-founders of Forma, has been working with Solana Foundation. And I would not be surprised if he had a hand in making this deal happen. And it's truly... we want to see more non-USD stablecoins so that we can have a true foreign exchange experience on Solana. And so we need stablecoins that won't just go away, because that's a problem with a lot of new stablecoins, is that they don't get enough traction and then they just disappear. So it really matters when you have literally the national bank of a country launching the stablecoin, because then you have a very high probability that it will stick around.
Yep. I think also just the sheer amount of governmental institutions, traditional financial institutions, and fintechs currently partnering up with crypto native companies, foundations, and blockchains is at an all-time high. We're seeing so many partnerships between TradFi and the crypto world these days, and governments, that this is definitely a proof of where we are now, which is in the cycle, which is definitely at the end of adoption, I would say, because it's not just the nerds anymore. It's not just the cypherpunks anymore that are using technology. We're talking about we're talking about banks, we're talking about governments, we're talking about the Nasdaq. That is like really it's big names partnering with Solana and other crypto companies. So I think that's huge. We should acknowledge that sometimes.
Yes. Also, in that's fucking huge news, the Korean internet giant Naver is going to acquire Upbit, which is Korea's biggest exchange. And if you know anything about Korea, we absolutely love our degenerate kimchi tokens. And guys, like,
wait a second, what is the kimchi token?
Oh, so kimchi coins are a real thing, and they're meme coins that are only popular in Korea. They're homegrown, they're homespun. The marketing is all done in Korean. Oftentimes Koreans don't buy, like, let's say, English meme coins because they don't read. I mean, obviously they read English, but like they don't know how to participate in those communities, right? Whereas like the Korean ecosystem truly has their own like meme coin. I don't know how to put this. It's just like its own bubble. But
yeah, totally.
This is so bizarre to me. Like I've been living in Korea for the last 13 years, and Naver is obviously one of our biggest companies here. And just to have, but Upbit has also gotten huge. I think the exchange volume for Upbit has increased by almost like 40 or 50% in the last couple of months, and that's on top of already insane trading volumes. And yeah, I mean, just imagine Google buying Coinbase. This is what this feels like to me as a South Korean. It's like, holy shit, did Google just buy Coinbase? What the hell just happened?
Yeah, it is huge, man. Like, I think the amount of volume that we're getting from Upbit, the amount of money Upbit makes from token listings, it is insane. It's one of the biggest and best exchanges. It's tier 1 level. It's for people that don't know that, I don't know why you wouldn't, but Upbit is Binance level, right? The tokens that list on Upbit, they always get a huge bump in. They get a god candle once they list because it's always bullish news. So Upbit is it's a real deal, and most people probably have no idea what Naver is. So maybe
Yeah,
I think you're in a good spot to explain
yeah
what Naver really does, because if you're not from Korea, you have no idea.
Yeah. So Naver is literally our Google, right? So a bit of a fun fact: Google did try to enter the Korean market in the 1990s, but Korean government officials are very protectionist. So they did everything that they could to discourage Google's entry into the Korean market and to instead encourage a homegrown competitor. And so. In any single way that the Korean government could hamstring Google, whether it be giving them really awkward requirements for mapping data. So like that's why Google Maps is not a thing in Korea.
Yeah.
Like Simon would know this being in Korea. If you try to use Google Maps, it just doesn't fucking work. And it's because
it is so weird. Like
yeah.
Yeah, why? Tell me why.
No.
I just paused because I want to know.
Oh
why.
yeah, no. It's because the Korean government specifically made it hard for Google to collect that mapping data and gave edge to Naver, right? And it's because they don't want a foreign company coming into Korea and then making money off of Korean users. They want a Korean internet company to be doing all of that. And so Naver literally and truly is the Google of South Korea. That being said, there's also Kakao, which is the messaging app that's also doing a lot of the very similar services to Naver. Obviously, Kakao does not have a search engine, but yeah, Naver is a huge company in South Korea, and the Korean internet is a thing, right? Like obviously the memes on the Korean internet and the way that people talk to each other on the Korean internet and the services, the apps, they're all different than what we experience in the English-speaking world. So it's interesting because I find that there's not a lot of crossover between like Korean internet and then like English internet. They're like two very different ecosystems. The only time I've ever seen Korean internet meet the English-speaking internet is on Instagram, because people would be posting screenshots from Korean internet, and then like that becomes memes on Instagram, I suppose. But yeah, no, it's very interesting to see.
Crazy. Yeah, so I looked that up, like the acquisition earlier, and it happened already, so today in the morning, basically, all the approvals were flying in for it, and the deal was basically officially approved. The way it's a pretty complex financial transaction. It's not just Naver putting a lump sum out and buying up Upbit. It's going to be made on the exchange. I think Naver is issuing new shares to Upbit shareholders, diluting that company, and taking it over fully. So it hasn't been confirmed yet if this is a partial takeover or a fully one. But I think they say that the prediction is that it's a full acquisition. So I think we're going to hear more about that very soon. The valuation has also not been announced. I was really particularly interested in that, to hear how much does this cost for Naver to acquire Upbit, because Upbit is a very profitable business. I'm pretty sure it has over 10 million users, and has been a compliance leader amid Korea's strict crypto regulations. Again, I can imagine that Korea, in the same sense as it's trying to get Naver instead of Google, is also trying to get homegrown exchanges. That's why BitHub and Upbit are working so well here, while in other markets in Asia, a lot of times you just have Binance.
Yeah.
You just have Gate. You have the global exchange leaders, right? But in Korea, for some reason, you have this major exchanges that make so much volume.
It's the same thing.
Much more than all the others.
Dude, bro, it's the exact same thing that happened to, Google, right? Is, hey, Binance, you want to operate in Korea? Here's a license you have to get. And guess what? We're not going to give you one. So that's really how
I was pretty sure.
Yeah, that's how that works in Korea. It's all like, if there's a way for a business to make money and they're going to be tapping into Korean customers, the Korean government is going to do whatever they can to make sure that it's a Korean company that's earning all that revenue so that the money stays in the economy, which makes sense.
Interesting.
But what doesn't make sense to me is this. Okay, I'll be honest with you, Simon. I've had a couple of minutes now, about 30, 40 minutes to digest this news. This makes no sense to me. Like, why would Upbit sell themselves to Naver at the top of their game? I suspect some government fuckery, or some sort of strings were pulled, or some sort of weird incentives between different power players. I'm very curious to get the inside scoop on why exactly this deal happened.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit of detail. It's not Naver who acquired Upbit directly, but the parent company of Naver, which is probably a name that most people never heard before, which is Dunamu. So Dunamu, did the acquisition. Or actually,
no, Dunamu is the parent. No, Dunamu is the parent company of Upbit. Yeah.
Okay, that's the way around. Yeah, sorry for that. So yeah, most people probably don't know that it's not Upbit that gets acquired, but Dunamu. So they're buying the whole cake.
Yeah,
basically.
Right.
Interesting.
So that is a big piece of breaking news today. Literally one of the biggest exchanges in the world is being bought by a local homegrown search engine. And moving on to other pieces of news, Solflare has this really interesting new initiative. They have workshops now, and this most recent workshop is the basics of the X algorithm. So how to figure out the X algo. I think that this is super interesting. Solflare has done one of the best jobs rallying together creators throughout the Solana ecosystem. And so it makes a lot of sense, even though that they're a wallet, that they would try to provide additional value to the ecosystem. And in this case, it's how to figure out the X algorithm. I actually might be making our intern watch this workshop.
100%. I think it's really smart because the Solflare Guardians get a lot of knowledge from being a Solflare Guardian. So if you're part of the ambassador program of Solflare, the big mission of them is to help you get better at your game, at content creation, which is a win for you, and it's a win for them because you're making content for them, obviously, partially, right? So I think it's more about really learning how to be a good creator. So it's interesting for all of us, really. All of us content creators. This is really interesting.
Yeah.
Shout out to Maki.
I just want to say, like, Solflare does some of the most innovative go-to-market that I've seen. Everything they do is fresh, right? And whether or not what they work on is, successful or not, like, everything is an experiment. They're experimenting in a meaningful way. And so, like, I actually do want to watch this after this podcast, but first I need to catch up on a little bit of sleep, but this seems super interesting. Growth School, the basics of the X algo. And moving on to another piece of news, you asked, we delivered 5 new .sol categories. So this includes Gen 1 Japanese Pokemon, Nintendo characters, anime, food collections, as well as animal collections. FP stands for floor price. So if you go over to the SNS website over here, you'll see that there are different categories, right? So, like, let's say 1-letter categories, or 9 club categories, or 2-digit palindrome categories. And you can type all the different categories you're trying to find here. But the one that I typed earlier was Pokemon, because that is now a new category that they have. And so this is an example of a new category. And so, yeah, you can buy Gen 1 Pokemon in their original Japanese characters.
Amazing. That's so cool. Yeah, they always have some exciting new ideas to make the product more interesting. Yeah, it's about collecting rare names, right? That's the domain game, really. And then if someone wants that name at some point, you might even make a profit on acquiring it. So I think categories are a great way to sort and filter through new domains that you might even not be aware of.
And
that they exist.
What I really appreciate about that initiative is that it was a suggestion by the community that they implemented based on the requests, right? So, like, this is very much the SNS ethos. They do a wonderful job making sure that their holders are happy. And speaking of amazing things that SNS is doing in the ecosystem, they also recently, if you remember, ran a hackathon with WebHash, and now the winners have been announced. So congratulations to LeQuent, Alex, Crypt Lonely, Hybrid the Geek, and Chappy Design. They are the winners of the SNS WebHash Buildathon.
Congrats. Good job.
Yes, and if you're trying to remember like what exactly this hackathon was, right? It was anything that has to do with the SNS ecosystem. So we're talking about link trees, meme zones, dApps. They're all integrating .sol into their applications and/or services. So this is SNS's way of making sure that you never have to worry or think about whether or not .sol is compatible with the services that you use on chain. They all should be using .sol. So this was a very cool initiative, and again, congrats to all the winners of the Buildathon.
Cool.
And last but not least, Simon, I think you and I both need a little bit more context here, but what we've heard is Astralane is collaborating with Flash Trade, and what they've done specifically is Astralane's Iris, gives traders blazingly fast execution, lower fail rates, and alpha that actually lands. Do you know about anything about Astralane?
Not too much. I think I looked it up earlier, and I haven't seen them on the timeline too much, because it's more like an infra play. So as a consumer, you don't really, you don't get to know these kind of technologies a lot of time. But what I want to know as a trader is, does this gonna improve my user experience? And if the answer is yes, then I'm excited. So I think without having to go into the technical details here, we can say that the integration of Astralane Iris is going to make user experience on Flash Trade a bit more smoother and quicker. And that's what we like as traders, right? Because we can still do a lot of improvements when it comes to speed and efficiency.
Yeah, this looks like a transaction landing service. So this is going to be somewhat similar to Sanctum's Gateway. So basically, they will interact with the RPCs so the protocols don't have to. Like often protocols have to do all this like shitty ops work to route their transactions to the best RPC, and services like Gateway and apparently Iris handle this all for you, right? All the way from Jito tip refunds, as well as setting priority fees, like how much money you're willing to put into each transaction, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just making sure that when you set a trade on Flash Trade, using services like Gateway and Iris, you're much more likely for that transaction to land much faster and at a cheaper cost.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into building a perpetual decentralized exchange, because it is on chain and it settles on chain. It's very different from the centralized approaches that exchanges do, and there's a lot of things you need to get right when you do perp decks, and everything that makes it quicker is a win for the protocol.
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap for episode 49. Korean Google buys Upbit. That's obviously the biggest piece of news of the day. The charts are a bit down, and we can expect, or it would not be that surprising if the charts were to keep on dipping. Do not despair. Everything will be A-okay. We used to pray for $200 Sol. It's going to be all right.
It's gonna be all right. Let's see how the chart looks like when it's time for Sol Brothers again. Next week on Monday, we're gonna be there again for you guys. Until then, we wish you a very safe rest of the week and weekend. Make sure you're not getting liquidated. Stay safe out there, and yeah, we'll see you at the next one.
Auf Wiedersehen.